This is Let's Speak English, Spanish, Japanese Live, Episode 3. The theme of this show is learning languages. Aprender idiomas. Gengo o manabu koto. Before we start, let's look at this month's 365 language planets and stars. So far this month, we have 8 stars: Takanona, K Workshop, KE, Charming, Kanmama, YO, Hiromi Okada, and Take Agnor. Way to go! And 8 planets: Tetsuro, Takesh, Yuka, A Hybrid, Hiroti, Disney, Tomo, and Saku. If you want to be a 365 language planet, all you need to do is share an idea in the chat. So, let's begin. Empecemos. Hajimemashou. The first question of tonight's show is, are you learning any languages these days? In español, ¿estás aprendiendo algún idioma estos días? 日本語で、最近何か言語を学んでいますか? So now, please write your answer in the chat. Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. チャットに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります. Are you learning any languages these days? Please write your answer in the chat. ¿Estás aprendiendo algún idioma estos días? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. 最近何か言語を学んでいますか? チャットに答えを書いてください. Okay, Hiromi Okada, thank you very much for joining tonight's show. Buonasera. I learned Italian recently. That's great. I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak Italian, so I can't read Italian very well. I can't read it, sorry. But thank you very much for sharing your idea. That's great. All right, Charmin says, I'm learning English and Korean these days. Great. Thank you very much, Charmin, for joining the show. 私は日本語とスペイン語とドイツ語を学んでいます。Kan Mama, thank you for joining the show. I'm learning Korean on Duolingo. That's great. Fantastic. All right. If you're just joining the show, please feel free to share your answers in the chat. Are you learning any languages these days? Please write your answer in the chat. ¿Estás aprendiendo algún idioma estos días? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. 最近何か言語を学んでいますか? チャットに答えを書いてください. All right, K Workshop. Thank you for joining tonight's show. I'm learning only English these days, but I'm interested in Spanish. That's great. YO, thank you for joining tonight's show. I'm learning English and Korean these days. Korean seems like a very popular language. I think I should start learning Korean too. Estoy aprendiendo japonés, alemán y español. Hey E, thank you for joining tonight's show. He says, yeah, no, I'm not. I want to learn Korean language. I'm a big fan of Korean music groups. I want to figure out the meanings of their songs. Great idea. Thank you for joining the show. Okay, well, great job, everyone. Nice work. Let's move on to the next section. So this time, please write a new question in the chat. Escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. チャットに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります。Please write a new question in the chat. My question was, are you learning any languages these days? Escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. Mi pregunta es, ¿estás aprendiendo algún idioma estos días? チャットに新しい質問を書いてください。私の質問は、最近何か言語を学んでいますか？ in the last show, we talked about books. So, I think a good question would be, Chairman says, are you going to hot springs these days? Great question. I want to, but I have not. I have not since my mom visited. I have not gone to a hot spring. So, too bad. How about you, Charming? Hiromi Okada says, are you having any healthy foods these days? I am, yes. Today I had tofu, kimchi, mackerel, which is saba, and yogurt and blueberries. My 5 healthy foods. How about you, Hiromi Okada? Okay, I want to talk about books. Okay, Take Agnor says, are you doing any exercise these days? Great question, and thank you very much for joining tonight's show. Yes, I'm doing a little exercise. I did about 10 minutes of sit-ups today. Like you put your hands like on your ears and you, sit-ups. How about you, Take Agnor? Are you reading any interesting books these days? All right, Takanona, you had the same idea as me. And thank you very much for joining tonight's show. Are you reading any books these days? Great question. YO says, are you doing any sports these days? Great question. Not so much. Not so much, sadly. Okay, Hiromi Okada says, perfect. My husband and me have some mackerel. Great. Yeah, I love mackerel. Very delicious, very good. All right, Chairman says, I went to Bando no Yu last week. It was very good. That's great. Takagner says, I'm doing curves these days. That's fantastic. Okay. So, I guess, since Takanona asked my question, okay, K Workshop said, are you still watching YouTube these days? I'm watching a little bit these days, especially after drinking. After drinking is when I watch YouTube. But I'm gonna try to stop. No time. I'm out of time. All right. Ke says, "Are you making some people happy these days?" Great question. I don't know. That's a great question. I can definitely say I'm trying my best to make myself happy and make other people happy. Okay. How about you, Ke? All right, well, let's move on to the next question of tonight's show, which is I think learning and using languages is very fun and interesting. How about you? In español, creo que aprender y usar idiomas es muy divertido e interesante. ¿Y a ti? 日本語で言語を学んだり使ったりすることはとても楽しくて面白いことだと思います。あなたはどうですか? Alright, so please write your answer in the chat. Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. チャットに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります. I think learning and using languages is very fun and interesting. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat. Creo que aprender y usar idiomas es muy divertido e interesante. ¿Y a ti? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. All right, Charmin says, I think so too. It's very fantastic. All right, Keith says, I forgot to make myself happy. Thank you for reminding me. My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm happy to help remind you. Gengoを学んだり使ったりすることはとても楽しくて面白いことだと思います。あなたはどうですか? チャットに答えを書いてください. So in this question, you can answer the question just by saying I think. You don't have to say yes, like me too or not me. You can just say I think something. Okay, K Workshop says I think so too. Lesson time passes quickly. Wow, I'm happy to hear that. And Mama says I think so too, but I'm tired easily at night. Yeah, me too. For me, I don't study much at night. But, I think night is a good time to use language. So, that's great. All right. So, I think learning and using languages is very fun and interesting. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat. Creo que aprender y usar idiomas es muy divertido e interesante. ¿Y a ti? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. All right. Hirome Okada says, I perfectly agree with you. It begins the new world when I connect many new people and when he travels to Europe. Wow. That's one of my dreams. One of my dreams is to travel to Europe or maybe live in Europe. That would be exciting. Right. If you're just joining the show, please feel free to share your ideas in the chat. All right. Takanona says, I agree. I hope that the more I can use it, the more fun it will be. Definitely. I think that will definitely be the case. All right. So I think learning and using languages is very fun and interesting. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat. Ok, aprender y usar idiomas es muy divertido e interesante. ¿Y a ti? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. 言語を学んだり使ったりすることはとても楽しくて面白いことだと思います。あなたはどうですか? Okay, let's move on. So now, please write a new question in the chat. Escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. チャットに新しい質問を書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります. Please write a new question in the chat. My question is, I think learning and using languages is very fun and interesting. How about you? That was my question, but now please write your question in the chat. Escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. Mi pregunta es, creo que aprender y usar idiomas es muy divertido e interesante. ¿Y a ti? チャットに新しい質問を書いてください。私の質問は、言語を学んだり使ったりすることはとても面白くて、楽しくて面白いことだと思います。Okay, YO says, I think so too. I'm happy to learn English with this class. Wow. Thank you so much for saying so, YO. I'm very happy to study and use languages with you. I think I could use this sentence to talk about Guma. I live in Guma. Guma ken ni sumu koto wa totemo omoshiroku te tanoshii koto da to omoimasu. How about you? あなたはどうですか? So, I think living in Guma is very interesting and fun. How about you? Okay. Vivir en Guma es muy interesante y divertido. ¿Y a ti? All right, Kan Mama says, I think going abroad and talking to, too many people is very fun. How about you? Nice idea. Hey Workshop says, I think drinking and singing is very fun and interesting. How about you? Me too. But, I would add a little bit dangerous because sometimes, like when you're drinking and singing, having a very good time, sometimes people drink too much. So I think maybe Creo que hacer ejercicio todos los días es muy bueno. Okay, so Charmin said, I think doing exercise when I feel loneliness. How about you? I was making the same sentence. I was trying to say when I do. So I no, my sentence was I think doing a little exercise every day is very good. But yeah, when you're lonely too, nice idea, Charming. Great job. Okay, so let's move on to the last question of tonight's show, which is oh, I got one more idea. Takanona says, I think traveling to places you've never been before is fun and interesting. What about you? Me too. Nice idea. Yogakata says, I think playing and training a dog is so fun and interesting. If that, maybe even if that dog is a little bit naughty, naughty. Nice idea. Okay, so the last question of tonight's show is, when is your favorite time to learn languages? ¿Cuál es tu momento favorito para aprender idiomas? 言語を学ぶのに一番好きな時間はいつですか? Alright, so please write your answer in the chat. Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. チャットに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります. When is your favorite time to learn languages? Please write your answer in the chat. ¿Cuál es tu momento favorito para aprender idiomas? Escribe tu respuesta en el chat. 言語を学ぶのに一番好きな時間はいつですか? チャットに答えを書いてください. All right, K Workshop says every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Wow. So happy to hear that. Thank you for saying so. 私の一番好きな時間は毎朝です. All right, YO says me too. All right, my idea was I didn't say for me, but for me, my favorite time is every morning. Okay, Charmin says my favorite time to learn languages is early morning. Gonna say this me too. Takanona says my favorite time to learn a language are 30 minutes before breakfast and 30 minutes before dinner. Nice idea. Yogakata says the new people can understand to my saying is my favorite time. Yes. Yeah. I would kind of switch it and I would say my favorite time is when new people can understand. Uh, more very simple as this: understand me. Okay, and Charmin says, and this showtime. I'm happy to hear that. Speaking of this showtime, if you're just joining the show, please feel free to share your ideas in the chat. This show is about learning and using languages. You can use English, Spanish, or Japanese. Okay, Kan Mama says, my favorite time to learn languages is same as charming, right? Great. Yeah. Yeah. In English, I would say a little bit more. Um, my favorite time to learn languages is in the morning after waking up and before drinking coffee these days. Okay, Charmin says, thank you, Kan Mama. That's great. Okay, if you're still typing your idea, that's okay. Please continue and please share your idea anytime. Anytime is okay. All right, well, let's move on to the last section of tonight's show. So now, please write a new question in the chat. Ahora, escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. チャットに新しい質問を書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Tienes 4 minutos. 4分間あります. Please write a new question in the chat. My question was, when is your favorite time to learn languages? In español, escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. Mi pregunta es, ¿cuál es tu momento favorito para aprender idiomas? 今、チャットに新しい質問を書いてください. 私の質問は、言語を学ぶのに一番好きな時間はいつですか? All right, KE says, for half an hour from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Wow, I think I have the best viewers. You guys are very nice and you study very hard. I'm very, very happy to hear that. All right, so now please write a new question in the chat. Ahora, escribe una nueva pregunta en el chat. Okay, Takanona says, when is your favorite time to read? Great question. So I just got the idea tonight while talking with a student. I'm going to try to read for 5 minutes every night before I take a bath. I'm gonna try to make that my new habit. How about you, Takanona? When is your favorite time to read? 今、チャットに新しい質問を書いてください. 何でもいいです. Anything is okay. And I think recently I started going hiking. So I think a good question would be like, well, when is your favorite time to go hiking? All right, Lyle says, what is your favorite activity on days off? Fantastic, nice idea. My favorite activity on days off is I would say taking a day trip with my family. How about you, Ayo? All right, K Workshop says, when is your favorite time to call your girlfriend slash boyfriend? Nice idea, K Workshop. For me, I don't have uh, a girlfriend or boyfriend, so I have no chance, no chance. How about you, K Workshop? But sometimes I like to call my wife while waiting for my train, especially in Guma. A lot of train stations have very few people at the station, and so sometimes it's a good chance to call. Okay, Takanona says my favorite time to read is 30 minutes before bed. Nice idea. And Mama says, which is your favorite place to take breaks? Nice cafe or your room? Nice idea. Which is your favorite place to take breaks? Nice cafe or your room? I would, for me, I would say definitely my room because I can lay down on a soft, comfortable bed. But how about you, Kan Mama? Which is your favorite place to take a? I would say, oh yeah, to take breaks is okay. You just would add maybe a nice cafe or your room. Okay, well, great job, everyone. Nice work. If you're still typing, yeah, please feel free to share your idea anytime during the show or after the show is okay too, in the comments. All right. Well, that's the end of tonight's show. Este es el final del programa de esta noche. Thank, thank you so much for studying and using languages with me. Muchas gracias por estudiar y usar idiomas conmigo. Uh, 私と一緒に言語を勉強して使ってくれてどうもありがとう。Our next show will be on Thursday night. Easy English, German, Japanese, and then English conversation live with Study Buddy on Sunday. And then Let's Speak English, Spanish, Japanese next Tuesday. My pleasure, Hiromi. My pleasure. I'm so happy to study and use languages with you and everyone. It's very fun. Thank you. All right. Takanona says, Loke Tenga Ke Seher Seira. I'm not sure, but very nice. Nice, thank you. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give the show a big thumbs up. I hope everyone has a great night. Espero que todos tengan una linda, buena, 素晴らしい夜をお過ごしください. I'll see you next time. Nos vemos pronto. また近いうちに会いましょう. Good night.